Hi, my name is Jade Lozada and I am the Policy Director of Triage and a Climate Organizer from New York City. New York City is the epicenter of the pandemic right now, and its victims are disproportionately people of color from poor and working class neighborhoods, the same people who are disproportionately affected by climate change. It's no coincidence, and it's why the work of Earth Week New York City Coalition is more important than ever. Earth Week New York City Coalition will continue to fight for a just and equitable transition to a clean energy economy. What we've learned is that everything depends on it.
My name's Sarah Matthews. I live in Brooklyn. I'm with the Sunrise Movement, and I believe we need a Green New Deal now. A Green New Deal means all the laws that will get passed to transform our economy into one that's based on clean and renewable energy, into one that's much less unequal than the one that we have now. It will create thousands of good, clean, green jobs. This is what we need so that people don't suffer. We're seeing a taste of the sort of suffering that will come with climate change right now with the COVID-19 crisis. We have a chance to build a better world, and we should do it.
I'm Charlie.
And I'm Lisa, and we're with Indivisible Nation BK in Brooklyn.
We demand an end to all fossil fuel subsidies.
A fossil fuel subsidy is anything that rigs the game in favor of fossil fuels over other energy sources.
Rigging is not okay.
It really isn't. It's never okay to favor corporations over real people.
And it really isn't okay when it's fossil fuel corporations that are destroying our planet.
We demand that our government refuse to provide them bailouts.
I'm a kid, and even I know that you should take care of me before you take care of the fossil fuel industry.
Wepanachana. I am Sachem Hawkstorm of the Schaghticoke First Nations and Indigenous peoples of New York. Low-income communities and communities of color are hit first and worst by the climate crisis. We are disproportionately burdened by our current energy system, from the unjust sitting of polluting infrastructure to disproportionately facing the effects of climate events such as floods and heat waves. Marginalized communities already suffer the most from the climate crisis. Climate policies must include specific dedicated funding streams for frontline communities, as well as involve frontline leadership in all decision-making processes. These demands are important to me as they support the implementation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. 80% of the world's biodiversity is protected by Indigenous peoples, and for our future generations, we need a seat at the table.
My name is Anna Park, and I'm currently coming to you from Boston. I fight with Triage in New York City because I've seen the importance of global change now more than ever before. We're working on a tight timeline here with the ultimate goal of reducing climate pollution to close to zero by 2030. New York's new Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act requires a Climate Action Council under Governor Cuomo to make an actionable plan in the next 2 years to immediately deploy renewable energy and high-efficiency power. It's a massive job, but that's why we have to get started as soon as possible.
Hi, my name is Saida Majlabe. I'm from New York City. I'm a member of Global Kids, New York's Community for Change, and New York City Climate Coalition. Today, we call on you, Governor Cuomo, to tax the rich and fund a Green New Deal for New York. 1% of New Yorkers take home 1/3 of their annual income. Meanwhile, 2.7 million of our neighbors live in poverty. Crisis intensifies, the rich will be going to their third and fourth home running away from the crisis, while communities are underwater and suffering from extreme heat. That's not right. Governor Cuomo, tax the rich for a fairer and greener New York.
Hi, my name is Gustavo. I'm with the New York City Democratic Socialists of America. I live in New York, and we demand public power. We can't entrust the transition to private capital. Investor-owned utilities and private corporations created the crisis that we're in, and we can't entrust them to take us out of it. What we need is democratic control over our economy and over our energy system. That's what we're calling public power. We can't trade in oil barons for solar barons. We need public power.
Hi, I'm Mark Sanchez Potter, and I'm with Food and Water Action. We're fighting the proposed Dan-Scammer fracked gas power plant in the town of Newburgh. We're calling on Governor Cuomo to stop Dan-Scammer. We don't need it for our energy needs in New York State. We're also calling for a 100% transition to renewable energy and a Green New Deal for New York State. We do not need Dan-Scammer, and we need everyone to come out and fight this proposed fracked gas power plant. Thank you.
Hey, this is Priya with the New York City Environmental Justice Alliance, calling from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm here to support the Earth Day demand, Make Polluters Pay. This demand is really critical for environmental justice communities who are low-income communities of color on the front lines of some of the most polluting infrastructure, from highways to power plants, waste transfer stations, Superfund sites, and who are dealing with higher rates of asthma, heart disease, and cancer as a result. And this is directly linked to corporate polluters who are knowingly polluting and poisoning our communities. They're knowingly halting climate action, and they need to be held financially responsible for the damage that they have caused.
Hi, my name is Georgie, and I'm a member of 350 Brooklyn. I'm here to tell you about the Renewable RIKERS Act. The Renewable RIKERS Act is a trio of 3 bills. 2 of those bills would examine the feasibility of a wastewater treatment plant and a solar farm on Rikers Island. The 3rd bill will transfer control of the island from the Department of Corrections to the Department of Environmental Protection. Rikers Island Prison Complex is a human rights failure built on toxic waste. We need to close Rikers. 2, toxic emissions, as from peaker plants, cause respiratory conditions and heart conditions. 3, respiratory conditions plus diseases like COVID-19 equal a greater likelihood of death. We need to end toxic emissions. Closing Rikers and ending some of the most harmful toxic emissions, plus a bonus of infrastructure updates with stimulus and recovery spending, equals the Renewable RIKERS Act. We need to pass the Renewable RIKERS Act now.
Hi, I'm Kareth Creo with Extinction Rebellion, and I live in New York City. I'm here to demand a total divestment from deforestation and fossil fuels. We're losing 18.7 million acres of forest annually, equivalent to 27 soccer fields every minute. Bank financing has increased since the Paris Agreement of 2015, with 35 global banks investing $2.7 trillion in the last 4 years alone.
My name is Saad Amer. I'm the founder of Plus One Votes, and we need to demand environmental justice. We need an equitable society that places people before polluters, that puts the planet before profit, and where the power lies with us, the people. And to demand that power back, here's 3 simple things you can do. Number 1, call your local officials and make sure they understand how important environmental justice is to us and that they're actively fighting for our needs. Number 2, fill out the census. The census is how the government counts people in our communities and ultimately allocates resources. If you don't fill out the census, you will be undercounted and your community will not get the resources it needs to thrive. And number 3, vote. Make sure that you're gonna vote in the upcoming election. And not only are you voting, but that you're actively registering the people around you to vote, your plus ones. If your vote was not so important, there would not be so many forces trying to prevent you from casting your ballot. We need to come together, mobilize, organize, and march to the polls, because together we will demand a future.